LA Knight joins Bray Wyatt's faction. Best and worst of SmackDown. Real reason why Sami Zayn missed WWE SmackDown. Triple H's hatred for the Judgment Day. Triple H attacked for killing WWE. WWE's huge plans for Survivor Series War Games leaked. Let's jump right in. Best and worst of SmackDown. Welcome to this week's edition of Best and Worst of SmackDown. It was a great episode, as we're just 2 weeks away from Survivor Series War Games. It's crazy to think that such a vital premium live event can have a build-up of just a few weeks. However, from the looks of things, we will have eventful episodes coming up to build a solid card on the Raw and SmackDown sides. Let's jump right in and look at the ups and downs of SmackDown this week. Number 3. Best, the incredible tag team title match. The New Day and the Usos put on yet another stellar match, with this being perhaps their most important bout yet. This win for the Usos meant they would soon surpass the New Day to become the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. What we loved about the opener on SmackDown wasn't just the match itself, but that the two teams have such immense respect for each other. It even seemed like WWE was teasing a face turn for the Usos, even if it doesn't happen anytime soon. Number 2. Worst, the build-up to Ronda Rousey vs. Shotzi. We're not against the idea of a Ronda Rousey vs. Shotzi feud. Although it is a filler feud, this appears to be the biggest opportunity the latter has had as a single star. However, the six-pack match wasn't the smoothest, and the story of Rousey vs. Shotzi seemed to have begun abruptly. With that said, we don't mind the direction, but the execution to build toward the feud this week on SmackDown was poor. Number 2. Best, Roman Reigns War Games opponents. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline look set to take on the trio of the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre with one additional member at War Games. Sheamus returned to seek revenge on the Bloodline for the injury caused to him. However, the numbers game played in, meaning that Drew McIntyre had to come out to make the save. While SmackDown went off the air 2 minutes early and abruptly, the story and the main event were great. The War Games headliner looks like it will be an interesting affair. Who could the fifth member be? Number 1. Worst, Hit Row and its utilization on SmackDown. Hit Row hasn't been in good form on SmackDown, and WWE is doing the stable no favors. They have essentially become the team that new groups beat down to make a name for themselves. The Viking Raiders and Sarah Logan returned this week to take Hit Row out. It was good to see the former Riot Squad member back, but anything involving Hit Row these days seems to have taken a nosedive. Number 1. Best, Bray Wyatt's first feud being teased. LA Knight was cutting a promo before Bray Wyatt, of all people, interrupted him. It was the first major tease of a feud for the latter. Knight also seems to be the perfect opponent for him, an established 40-year-old star divided by 19-year veteran in the wrestling business. Wyatt's headbutt to him meant that his ruthless side was coming out soon. Perhaps Survivor Series could be where he has his return match. But how will things play out with the entire Uncle Howdy storyline? Many questions are still to be answered. Either way, this segment was a big positive on the show. Real reason why Sami Zayn missed WWE SmackDown. WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg cheered for an upcoming bout between Sami Zayn and Butch after tonight's SmackDown announcement. Next week on the Blue brand, honorary youth Sami Zayn will take on the former NXT UK champion Butch in the first round of the SmackDown World Cup. The winner of this match will advance to the World Cup semi-finals to receive a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Brian James, also known as Road Dogg, couldn't keep up his excitement for an excellent match between the Celtic Briton and the Canadian. Here's what the WWE Hall of Famer praised about the following match. "This match will be incredible," Road Dogg tweeted. Honorary Youth was absent from this week's SmackDown as the Usos beat the New Day to retain the undisputed Tag Team Championship. However, during the commentary, Michael Cole revealed that Honorary Youth was absent because of personal reasons this week. There's a reason why nowadays, the WWE Universe and many others are thrilled to see Sami on television. Honorary Youth has proven to be an oasis in the desert for the Bloodline story. In addition, his promos with Jey Uso have also been a vital part of the story. Sami has gained Roman Reigns' trust to be a part of the Bloodline. The former Intercontinental Champion revitalized the plot of the Bloodline that has gone on for over 2 years. The Tribal Chief has high hopes from the Honorary Youth, with him being a part of the SmackDown World Cup for the IC title shot. The head of the table definitely wants to bring another gold title to his family. As of now, Mexico's Santos defeated Nakamura to advance into the semi-finals of the inaugural SmackDown World Cup. The monster among men Braun Strowman quickly took down Jinder Mahal to earn his shot for the Intercontinental Championship. The other 2 first-round matches will take place on next week's Blue brand, featuring Mustafa Ali against Ricochet and Sami Zayn against Butch. Who do you think will receive a future title shot against the Intercontinental Champion Gunther? Sound off in the comments section below. Triple H's hatred for the Judgment Day. Triple H's regime made several changes and scrapped many Vince McMahon projects on arrival. It has now been reported that the Judgment Day could have been one of those ideas that could have been eradicated from the company. The Judgment Day has been one of the most heinous stables in recent memory. The group crossed several moral lines when it came to feuding with WWE superstars like Edge and Rey Mysterio. They even recruited Dominic Mysterio to the stable, which led to Ray leaving the Red brand. Triple H has been very supportive of his NXT alumnus in the past, and 3 out of the 4 members of the stable are former champions of the Black and Gold brand. According to a recent report from WrestleVotes, Triple H was not behind the idea of the faction in his early days as the chief content officer of the company. I know back in late July or early August, whenever this whole shift happened, from what I was told, Hunter wasn't really cool with Judgment Day. Not personally, but he just didn't like the idea. But since he's grown behind it, and I think that they're going to be around for longer than anticipated. The stable went under a major change before the departure of Vince McMahon when Finn Balor replaced Edge as the de facto leader of the group. In June, Edge introduced Finn Balor to the WWE Universe as the newest member of the group. Unfortunately, the stable turned on the rated R superstar and viciously took him out of action for months. Sadly, the group lost its charm after the departure of the Hall of Famer. Under Vince McMahon's regime, the group took a serious hit as they began performing on Main Event. The group slowly began to rise back up the card as they started feuding against the Mysterios. However, they still went on to lose a majority of their matches. It was only after the arrival of the new regime and Triple H's motivation to create stables with credibility that the Judgment Day began to rise. They became a staple on the Red brand with weekly appearances and started winning singles and tag team matches. After the arrival of Dominic Mysterio, the stable became unstoppable as they eliminated Edge and Rey Mysterio from the Red brand. Last week, they defeated the OC in a 6-man tag team match at WWE Crown Jewel. What do you think is next for the Judgment Day? Sound off in the comments section. Triple H attacked for killing WWE. Vince Russo recently blasted WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H, saying the promotion had become uncool since he was himself not cool. The game assumed the powers of the global juggernaut after his father-in-law Vince McMahon abruptly resigned from his duties in July. The changes made by Triple H to WWE's product have been welcomed by fans, though certain decisions like Austin Theory losing his MITB briefcase have come under the scanner. Unlike the larger consensus, which has tilted towards the positive, Vince Russo is far from pleased with how the game booked Raw and SmackDown. On Sportskeeda Wrestling's The Wrestling Outlaws, Russo said no matter who WWE brings it under its fold, it's inherently uncool, which has led to its decline. The former WWE writer added that even if they were to bring legendary comedian Rodney Dangerfield back from the dead, it wouldn't improve the product. Here's what's missing. You can bring in Bad Bunny, you can bring in Johnny Knoxville, you can dig up Rodney Dangerfield and bring him back. Here's the problem, and this is why Sami Zayn does not work for a casual. What you're talking about here is, you can bring in all the Bad Bunnies in the world. It's not gonna give WWE the cool factor. The WWE is uncool, said Vince Russo. The wrestling veteran went on to explain that performers like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are over because they are cool. Russo then fired shots at Triple H, saying the company was uncool because it was run by a guy who's not cool. Sami Zayn is not cool, he's funny. Why do you think Roman's over? Roman's over because Roman is cool, Brock is over because Brock is cool. Cool is over. As a company, they are not cool, and that goes back to, unfortunately, the guy running the company is not cool. That's really what it comes down to. They are not cool, said Russo. The former WWE personality rarely shies away from sharing his unfiltered views about all the ongoings in the global juggernaut. On this week's Legion of Raw, Vince Russo took issue with Triple H burying Austin Theory by having him cash in his MITB briefcase in a losing cause against US champion Seth Rollins. Russo stated that he couldn't comprehend why the game would bury someone on his own roster and even compared him to Vince McMahon. He does what Vince McMahon does that I never did one time in my career. Not one time, and that's blatantly bury people. You saw it on this show, you saw it with Theory on this show, you saw it with Ali on this show. Why would you want to bury in any way, shape, or form a player on your roster that you're paying? What is the logic of burying anybody on your own roster? Now that he has lost all his momentum, it'll be interesting to see how the promotion books Austin Theory to regain his mojo on Raw. Do you agree with Vince Russo's take on the Triple H-led promotion becoming uncool? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. WWE's huge plans for Survivor Series War Games leaked. Survivor Series 2022 is just around the corner, and WWE has started to prep for the long-running premium live event. However, this time around, a new mix has been thrown in with the announcement of the Grand War Games match, adding to the fans' excitement. The War Games match stipulation has become one of the favorites within the WWE universe. The concept was reintroduced in 2017 by the then NXT general manager William Regal after being out in the cold for so long. We've seen all kinds of crazy shenanigans take place inside the double steel cage structure, which consistently produces one of the best matches of the year. Now, with the match stipulation being introduced on the main roster for the first time, it's been reported by Dave Meltzer that WWE has crazy plans for it. Meltzer also said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the company wants to make it as amazing as possible so they can use more footage for future War Games matches. We were told that they are looking for some great visual shots of big spots out of this year's War Games because War Games will be a regular presentation on the main roster going forward, and they want spectacular-looking shots to promote it in future years, Dave Meltzer wrote. He added, they don't like the idea of having to use NXT footage to promote a main roster PPV, but it's the only modern War Games footage they have, and so much of that footage includes guys who they don't want to use because they are no longer with the company. Damage Control seems to be enjoying their time tormenting Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss ever since their faction's debut. The trio will now step inside the vicious War Games structure for their match at the Survivor Series 2022 Premium Live event. Both teams are yet to reveal all their members, with Damage Control closing in on their alliance with Nikki Cross to recruit her to their side. Bayley also has her eye on another faction member, Rhea Ripley, considering her valuable contribution to Judgment Day's rising popularity. In an interview with Sportskeeda Wrestling's Raju Dasgupta, the former WWE Women's Champion revealed that she'd be open to working alongside Rhea Ripley for the War Games match. I don't think I would recruit anyone on Damage Control right now, or at least I won't tell you who it would be. But if I needed another member for War Games, another teammate, it would be Rhea Ripley because she just body-slammed Luke Gallows, Bayley said. Who do you want to see compete in the WWE Survivor Series 2022 War Games match? Tell us about your picks in the comments section below. The Knight joined Bray Wyatt's faction. Bray Wyatt has been calling WWE SmackDown home since he made his grand return to the company at Extreme Rules, and more often than not he has come to the ring to deliver one of his patented mystery-filled promos. That wasn't the case tonight, however, and instead of heading to the ring, Wyatt popped up backstage and ended up in a confrontation with another fan-favorite star in LA Knight. The confrontation led to one of the most entertaining segments of the night and got fans hyped for a feud no one saw coming but is easily one of the most intriguing moving forward, especially after Knight took some big shots at Wyatt's puppets in Firefly Funhouse. Knight was backstage being interviewed by SmackDown's Megan Morant, but as he was talking she was distracted by the flickering Wyatt visuals on the TV to the side of them. Knight asked what was going on and then noticed the screen and told the crew to get that off of there, as this was his time, and then when the camera moved back into position Wyatt was there. Wyatt would ask Knight if they could be friends and then took things down a darker road, asking if he was willing to do what it took to get respect, and Knight had a brilliant response. Hey man, I know we haven't met, but my name is Bray, so now we can be friends, right? You know, I think I understand you better than you think I do, Wyatt said. I can see all that anger and rage brewing inside you. Me too, man. You know, my whole life people have been telling me my rage was gonna make a monster out of me. The thing is, I've been for the longest time, pretending that I'm not proud of the things that I do, but I just don't know how true that is anymore. Because I know what it takes to get respect, man. And I'm asking you, how far are you willing to go? Knight had a response ready and waiting, taking some shots at Bray's other puppets and calling his Firefly Funhouse a romper room. How far I'm willing to go ain't any of your damn business, but how far you're willing to go should be back to your little romper room. Play with your little puppets. Stick them anywhere that gives you pleasure, it's okay with me. But at the end of the day, if nobody asked you, whose game is it? It's LA Knight's game, Knight said. Wyatt laughed and then out of nowhere headbutted Knight and sent him falling to the floor. He looked a bit upset at losing this cool, and he was gone by the time Knight got back up to his feet. Many fans are speculating that LA Knight is on the road to joining Bray Wyatt as part of the rumored Wyatt Six. Do you agree with that? Sound off below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for